Welcome to another episode of the Colfax First United Methodist Church Children's Sermon. We're going to take a break from figure puppets and fancy productions, and I'm just going to sit here with my friend Franklin. He thought of this one. He thought we were just going to go back and go playing. And my Bible here, and we're going to kind of build on the play that we had last week, where we showed how King Solomon got his wisdom. Now, King Solomon wasn't wise per se at first. He was smart, but he wasn't wise. And then when God came to him and asked him, what did he want most in life? Solomon asked to be wise for the good of others. And since God saw that Solomon wanted to be wise for the good of others, not only did he give him great wisdom, but he bestowed upon him riches and a good life because he was thinking of others when he asked for his gift. And Solomon didn't just share his gift with a few people, whoever he had settled arguments, like when we talked about him settling the argument between the two women and their baby. He wrote it down in a book of Proverbs. Those Proverbs were meant to be kept for all time because the wisdom of Solomon was timeless and is timeless. Now, there's a long list of favorite Proverbs of mine, but I have chosen a few of them that I think that are really good for children to hear. I also think that it's good to have your parents, or if you have a Bible of your own, to go dig into Proverbs yourself. Now, some of these Proverbs might need some explanation from your dad or mom, because some of them have, let's say, a little more adult topic than we typically have at children's moments. So have your parents sit down with you and you guys can talk about some things out of Proverbs. But tonight I'm going to read a few and I'm going to list more in our YouTube description below so that your parents and you can look at them yourselves. And you know, Solomon thought that wisdom was so important that he repeated 3 times at the beginning of Proverbs. He said, learn to be wise and develop good judgment, and common sense for you will be rewarded for this effort. He said that 3 times because he thought that was the most important thing you should take away from Proverbs, is to seek wisdom at all times. So I'm going to start off with one proverb that is regarding to how you interact with your parents. Proverbs 6:20 through 23 goes like this: My son, keep your father's command, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. Bind them always on your heart, fasten them around your neck. When you walk, they will guide you. When you sleep, they will watch over you. When you wake, they will speak to you. For this command is a lamp, this teaching is a light, and correction and instruction are the way of life. See, we can't know it all at first. We're going to make mistakes. And you know the people to go to when you first make mistakes? Your parents. They got experience. They made mistakes before. So listen to your parents. Don't think you know it all. That is the wisdom of Solomon. The next proverb is Proverbs 12:15. The way of fools seems right to them, but the wise listen to advice. This builds on the last proverb. You're a fool if you only think what you want to think, only feel what you want to feel. Sometimes your feelings aren't correct. Sometimes what you think is not correct. If you go to a wise person about a problem, especially your parents, maybe your pastor, maybe a wise uncle, they might be able to help you find the right way to think. See, if we sometimes feel something that's incorrect, like we're jealous and we want to be angry when we shouldn't be jealous and we shouldn't be angry, those are the times when wise people help us. My next proverb is Proverbs 31:9. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy. See, that's a really good one too. A lot of us are young, healthy people, but sometimes we're around others who are in need of help. Someone who is smaller, younger, not as wise, maybe sick. And we need to speak up for those when they can't speak up for themselves. We need to help those who are in need. Another good piece of wisdom from King Solomon. Then there is Proverbs 22:1. A good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. Now see, I thought this one was my dad's piece of wisdom, but I think he stole it from Proverbs. The way he put it was, you can afford to lose a job, but you can never afford to lose your good name. A good reputation takes a long time to build and a very short time to lose. So when we act improperly, we can hurt our own reputation, and it could be lost forever to someone, or lost for a very long time. So we need to guard what people think of us as Christians. We need to act as Christians. Next proverb. Proverbs 4:7. The first step to becoming wise is to look for wisdom. So use everything you have to get understanding. This kind of builds on what King Solomon was saying. It was to seek wisdom at all costs. And along the way, as you're seeking wisdom, you'll gain understanding of what you do not know. Sometimes knowing what you do not know is more important than knowing things. Because it keeps you humble when you don't know everything, or know when you don't know everything, because you'll never know everything. But when you're always seeking understanding, to be listening to those who may have lived it a little bit more than you have, or may have done a little bit more than you have, you'll become a better person because you'll be listening to them, not just hearing them. You'll be listening. You'll take it to heart. You won't make those mistakes. A wise person doesn't make the mistakes that others have made. A wise person lives his life by learning from the mistakes of others. So I'm going to list the other proverbs, like I said earlier, in this YouTube, and I encourage all of you to go with your parents or by yourself, turn to your Proverbs in this little thing, the Living Bible. Mine's Living Bible. Everybody's has a different version. And read it yourself. It's not terribly long, at least in my opinion, it's not terribly long. But I feel better after I've read it, because there are so many unwise things in this world. And if you can just recharge yourself with wisdom from great King Solomon, you'll be a better person. Thank you.